No, it faces this way. Okay. All right, I forgot my refresher. I'm calling this meeting to order. Yay, another teacher.
Good, that's one I want to talk to you.
I forgot that water bottle.
All right.
Okay, if you didn't pick one up, there are agendas and minutes over here.
No. Yes.
So we did get feedback that some people are watching the YouTube. So thank you, people watching. We've got reports of officers. Kristen, you want to go ahead?
So we're about fun running and carnival. The basic is carnival is good. Fun run could use a shot in the arm. So our goal for fun run was $20,000. We raised $13,905. Last year we had raised $16,372. The expenses are there. So we spent less, but there's our difference between last year and this year. It's highlighted.
At the same point or overall?
As of today.
Okay.
So I mean, there is still. In fact, I got $150 today for fun run, but it's definitely slowing down.
Could you just say the numbers so it's recorded?
Totally. So again, the donations this year were $13,905. The expenses were $727.69 for a net of $13,177.89. And so our goal versus actual, we were negative $5,622, and versus last year we're down $2,228.61. The happy side is Carnival. Carnival did fantastic. So we had a goal of $4,000 in ticket sales. We actually made $5,895 in ticket sales, which was up from $4,304 from last year. Silent auction, we have a goal of $1,000. We came super close with $927, and last year it was $845. Expenses, $1,200 for estimated expenses. We spent $1,000. There may be still $300. We're not sure in expenses. It just depends if somebody decides to donate their time versus charge us for it, and down from last year as well. So those are our totals. $5,810 was the total after expenses were paid. So versus actual, we're up $2,000, and over last year we're up $1,800. So the conclusion with that is that maybe the school-wide incentive program was not as successful as we would have liked it to be, but the Halloween Carnival ticket sales was the best thing we've ever done. So we'll have to work on what to do. So our nets are, for this year, it was $18,988 versus last year. So we're down from our goal by $33,611.72. And then our actual difference from last year between Carnival and Fun Run is only $389. So that's actually not too terrible. And I got 150 of it, or 130 of it today. So that's actually even a smaller delta now. So Fun Run or Carnival made up for a lot of what we did get from Fun Run. Not a lot, but some. So at minimum, we have to figure out a decrease in the budget by $389 to make up for what we got. And we need, I calculated that we need at least $6,000 in carryover over the summer to support fundraising and do all of the PTA administrative costs and support the MAD money, because there's usually a big surge of MAD money at the beginning of school, then there's not a lot, and then at the very end of school, there's a lot. So how do we make sure that we pay for everything that we have and have a $6,000 carryover for next year? And so, because we didn't make our goals, do we have another fundraiser this spring and try to raise the $6,000 to have that carryover, or what do you think? Because they still want playground equipment. I met with the facilities guys. They're ready to go whenever we are. We just have to put money on the table. They want $5,000 at minimum. The school's going to match $5,000, and then we'll get at least the rock climbing wall and maybe some spinny things.
So just kind of phase it in?
Yeah, well, at this point, yeah, it has to be, because we can't pay for it outright. So these are some of the proposed budget changes. Granted, this was all, the budget that was created was based on our fundraising, raising $24,000. We did not raise $24,000, we raised $18,000. So where do we cut and how much do we cut? So my thought, I wish I knew how to work my PowerPoint. Decrease the educational grants from $2,500 to $1,500. Last year, educational grants topped out at $2,000. So this would just be essentially like a $500 cut. Right now, I think we're only at $400 of educational grants. Decrease the reading and math night food budget from $1,500. Mrs. Guy and I have been talking about that, and I guess that's something that the school is willing to pick up the costs for the food, so we wouldn't have to pay for food. We would still be paying for math night and reading night, but just not the food piece of it. I know that there's math committee people here. Is that what you guys heard too, or do you have any idea?
I want to be sure before we send anything officially.
Right.
That the school can cover the entire of the cost. It's been kind of a back and forth on how that's going to work with the new food system, and we're not really sure how much they'll charge. We're not really sure about much.
Okay.
So I wouldn't make anything too official on that front before we know more from the food company.
And out of curiosity, like, do you guys think you're going to spend the whole $1,000 on math night, or
No.
Okay.
No. I'm in charge of budget, and we're really low.
Okay. So
I can share that with you.
Okay.
I have I need to get your email, and then I can just share it to all the PTA our budget outline for math night.
So what we could do is whatever's left over from that $1,000, I could put towards that. It would just help us by taking away $500.
Yeah, because I don't think we're going to use all of it, from what I can tell. Not even.
Okay, good. Yeah, we had no idea how much math night costs, so.
Yeah, we weren't sure either. So.
Good. Yay. So one of the other things was decreasing landscapes from $300 to $200. Last year they spent $130 on landscapes. They did not spend the whole $300 on it.
We got a lot of donations. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ms. Clayton.
Right. So that's an easy one to also deduct from. The LAHS Senior Appreciation Night, 200 to 100. Science Fair from 500 to 400. Families in Need budget, the reason it's going down from $500 to $50 is that they figured out a different way to get kids food if they forgot it. So a lot of our budget has been in the past with the Families in Need. It's been kids who forgot their lunch. And so we were purchasing granola bars and fruit cups and juices and all of these different things to help supplement the lunch. Turns out we're not allowed to do that. So we bought oatmeal, and that's what they have. And so right now, I think if they forget their lunch, they're just going to the cafeteria and having it charged. So that's another easy one to kind of cut from. The Teacher Appreciation Fund from $1,700 to $1,200. The logic behind that is that last week of school where we do the end of year appreciation, there's a lot of food things that we buy. So like last year we bought cookies and apple bars and bagels and things like that.
Bagels and cream cheese.
We can find
Coffee.
people to do donations instead of us.
In lieu of our conferences in the fall, because we didn't do the luncheon.
Yeah.
That's why.
So yeah, that's part of it too, is since we didn't do a luncheon for teacher appreciation last week because of the construction, it was an opportunity to hit them up for food in May instead. The general grants fund is $2,000, and we're just going to take that out for right now. The recess equipment fund was $1,000, and we're going to take that out. And we're going to, one of the things that's been floated around is PTA is technically only allowed to pay for 70% of any given field trip. So fourth grade swimming, we weren't supposed to pay for the whole thing. I did not know that. Now I know that. So what? It says in our bylaws that we're only supposed to be funding at 70%.
Ah, that's new to the PTA bylaws.
Yeah. So, and if that's the case, however, I guess the county gives us a deal And as long as the kids aren't charged, then the county gives us this really good price for swimming. So we're still kind of working out whether or not that's a good one to change. These measures in total would save us $7,200. It would also give some money to put towards playground equipment as well as having that $6,000 carryover for next year. So what do you think? Yeah, she's just putting her sunglasses on so she can be.
So we're trying to buy the recess equipment. So why would we take out money for the recess equipment?
So recess equipment was originally $50 per classroom. So that it would be
Oh,
kind of
she's
like
confused about
recess-
recess, playtime equipment like balls and
Yeah.
jump ropes
Oh,
and chalk and
I
things
see.
like that for
Okay.
them to play during recess
Gotcha.
time. And this is physically getting a structure.
Right, exactly. Okay, could we not put that recess equipment towards the structures?
Yes, we can.
That's what she's.
Yeah, we can.
That's-
So
Oh, I see.
I would just be renaming that from recess equipment. It wouldn't be a $50 mad money per classroom anymore.
Right.
It would be $1,000 going
Gotcha.
towards,
Okay,
that's like the seed money for the recess equipment.
okay.
So,
Tony, we're buying balls for each of the classrooms.
Kristen, I have a
Yeah.
question. Do you have
He was going to.
any data on last year's expenses versus budget on
Yes.
line items like this? So for example, what % of our total budget did we spend last year and how much carryover did you have from last year's budget to this year's budget?
so last year, there were $3,000 that did not get spent in addition to the $6,000 that I had carried over. Like, I had a $6,000 carryover regardless of what the budget was, and there was $3,000 that I had over budgeted for. Because I didn't know what the cost was.
So that $9,000 then, coming into this year, is all been budgeted for it to be spent?
Right.
Okay.
And the
And
other,
then, so do you think that it would be typical then to have $3,000 at the end of the school year? Anyway, that's not budgeted for.
so I think I did a better job budgeting this year, because last year I didn't really have a good idea. So I think that this is probably more close to accurate than what last year's numbers were. The other piece of it too is the one wild card is that Lanel giving. Because like sometimes, I guess that it's typically $3,200 that they give us, the families who are mountain families, but also donate through Lanel. It's usually like $3,200.
But it
So-
fluctuates.
Yeah, but it fluctuates, and that's one that I'm kind of like, I'm a little bit hesitant to kind of put in there because I'm not sure what that number, we won't know that number until November.
Right.
After the.
Oh, and so the one the check you get in November, is that last year's giving, right?
Yes.
And so the new giving, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know like we just changed ours, we kind of change it from year to year.
Yeah,
And so this year it goes to mountain. He
Right.
just changed it to mountain.
okay. Well, yeah. and-
So I don't know, that'll show up next year's, but I don't know. Okay.
And so the other piece of it too is that like, is it worth sending a paper reminder home to the families? Hey, United Way's doing their campaign, it ends November 15th, please consider Mountain. You know, is it worth trying to encourage them again?
We can just put it in our newsletters.
So that would
Yeah.
be great.
That saves an extra piece of paper.
Yeah, right. It's funny because Facebook works kind of. If they're on Facebook, then it's great because they seem like they get it. But if they're not on Facebook, then they're like, I've never even heard of that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So maybe like this guy's newsletter. I don't know.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
guy's
let's put it on all those places,
Yeah.
Facebook and hers,
Yeah.
the school
And
website. Have Jennifer send an email to all the staff asking us to put it.
In the newsletter. Okay.
The other one that's good too is dismiss, earn and learn. Make
That's
sure
not our
there's-
money.
Okay.
That's school money.
And it's called community rewards.
Yeah, they changed it.
So you have to everybody's gonna have to redo it in January, regardless of what they choose.
Oh, in January?
Yeah, everybody will.
Oh, they changed the time schedule?
It's
too?
January 2016. That money is a nice check, goes directly to the school.
Yeah.
So you guys can use it.
But this is where we're at. I don't think any of the budget changes that we're proposing aren't really mind-blowing in any fashion, I don't think. I think it's just kind of, I think it's reasonable. I think we're very lucky to have the problem of having $18,000 in our budget compared to other places in this state where they don't have this problem. So let's spend it wisely. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
So then to get started on that equipment, how much?
So I'm hoping to put that $1,000, we would have at least $1,000 to start. Right. And that's why if we do another fundraiser in the spring, we'll at least have $1,000 and hopefully whatever we gain from that. And Mrs. Guy was saying, I guess the people who run the helicopter, they had done a raffle through an organization and were able to raise like $700 for their organization because they let us have all the profits. So it seems like there's some things that we could do. I know Pampered Chef was not everyone's favorite. We'll try not to do Pampered Chef again. In Arlington, they did a thing called the Armchair Fundraiser, where essentially all we did was send an email out and say, please give us money. You don't have to do anything. Just write us a check. Yes.
So you said the school district wants, if we have 5K, they'll match the 5K.
Yes.
But we don't have, so even with that shuffling, that's only giving us the 1K?
No, so the number that we're saving is $7,200. 6,000 of that has to be carried over to next year.
Oh, okay.
So it's, if all of the measures pass and the 4th grade swimming thing's allowed, then we potentially have $2,250 already saved up for, and then whatever happens with the Lanel Giving, that would help as well. We just don't know what that number is yet.
So that's not accounted for?
No.
So,
because
okay, so,
a piece of it is, I put like $3,000 of Lanel money in the budget, but whatever is above $3,000,
Oh, okay.
I did not.
okay.
because-
So you're asking the kids to pay for 4th grade swimming like $3 or
I think it's like 7.
$7?
Yeah.
Rather than 10? Oh,
Last year they paid nothing.
in the past 3 years, they've paid nothing.
Yeah.
We're the only school that does that. We do get every school in the district, 5 of them, they're offered money from, I think, Knights of Columbus or
Okay.
some sort of, I'm not sure which one, Rotary.
Okay.
They give money, so they pay for kids to help, but our school has a smaller bus fee.
Right.
So that's why the other schools were charging a lot more than
Okay.
Mountain.
But the bus is different from
Right.
we pay for the bus regardless. It's the actual lesson itself.
I know, but there, Mr. and Hoser does get money from another charity
Okay.
organization. Every school equally amounts.
Okay.
Because I think the only school that did not do some lesson was Pinion last year.
So does that mean that they were all fully funded by or that the parents had to chip in?
The Bronca had to chip in the most, and Chamisa because of the bus fees.
Okay. So what was a reasonable amount, do you think, to have the parents chip in?
I just know that parents who were asked over $10 said no at those schools. And I think swimming in 4th grade is more important than swimming in high school. So
Okay.
I would actually tell them to get the money out of the high school PE for 4th grade swimming in the district,
So whenever I kind of did a rough
in my
estimate
opinion.
of
But then
the
again,
cost, it looked like it was like $21 per kid to do swimming and so the $7 was kind of
yeah, because there's kids that did not go in Bronca
Yeah.
because of the cost implication.
well, but we can cover the kids who can't make it, but I think there's probably plenty of kids here who probably can't.
Well, it wasn't that, there was some political stuff going on. Yeah, but I just want to make sure that the 4th graders know how to swim. There's a lot of kids who are scared of water.
Right.
And versus getting it introduced younger versus
Okay.
older. So if they can't pay, we need to make sure that happens.
Like my kids in 4th grade, I would be happy to pay $7. I'm guessing that
Yeah.
there's probably plenty of kids and parents in 4th grade who are like happy to pay $7.
I'm happy to pay some.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just know for Barranca,
And-
they had kids not going because of the
We'll
$7.
figure it out. We'll make it work for them
How
because
many
it's
sessions?
important.
4?
4.
4.
So if you were going on your own to the aquatic center, it would be, yeah. It would be
Yeah.
like, it's like $250 a visit at least, right? For the kids? So we're talking $10 a person
Yeah.
just for the entrance fee
Right. Not
for that day, and then the lesson. Okay. All right.
It's very economical deal.
And that's why I said we have to find out whether, because the county is subsidizing it in the first place, if we're even allowed to charge. Because there are some homes that the county has that if they're subsidizing something, because it's using tax money already,
Yeah.
we're not allowed to ask for a donation. But from what Karen was saying, it sounds like you can, so.
Yeah, but it could be because they're charging for the buses.
Okay.
Because the PTOs weren't paying for that.
Okay.
So there's kids who didn't attend from those schools. I know that because I volunteer at all the
Yeah,
schools,
sure.
lessons from lessons.
We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. I want the kids to go swimming. I don't want
Okay.
them to
I
not
don't
go swimming.
hate them having to do library time.
Yeah, right.
Unnecessary.
Okay, so does anyone think anything's egregious on here and ridiculous or And if you're not interested in saying it out loud, send me an email.
I think the cut in the math and reading night food budget is pretty drastic, $500. I mean, well, I will have to, or did I miss?
So,
the
yeah,
conversation
so
about that? Sorry.
she said that the math and reading night is way below so we gave each one $1,000.
Uh-huh.
And part of it is that math night right now is way below that $1,000. So we're going to try to maybe.
Yeah, but I did say be cautious about
Yeah.
changing it because we're not sure about the food service.
Right.
And so I wouldn't change it yet.
Yeah, right. No, right. I'll wait for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Two
great.
weeks.
But I think also the point is that we need to cut money from somewhere.
Right.
And food is an easy one for us to cut because food is a ephemeral. $1,000 towards playground equipment is going to last a lot longer than a dinner, and I guess that's how I feel about it. Is that
Right.
especially when you could sell it.
Well,
That's my.
But wouldn't have that been 2,000? If the pizza bus got 1,000.
Not for food.
That's not for food. So you got $500 for food, and you got $1,000 for reading night and math night. So there's two different budgets. There's
We're only
math
putting the food.
night, reading night, food budget for math night, reading night. So it was $1,500 total per thing.
Event.
And now we're saying we don't want to pay for food because we want to pay for playground equipment. Right. And I had actually originally proposed that, and I know that this did not go anywhere, that maybe we could have a vendor sell instead and
Yeah.
make money. That did not fly apparently, which is fine. But
No, and I can tell you why you didn't like, because we talked about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, we really want the parents to come. And free food is a great motivator. And as soon as and we've always given food out in the past, so we can imagine a situation, even if we send out emails, people coming, going, you're free to apply, whatever, they make it, $3 please.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, we're here we really want them to come.
Like a
Otherwise,
community.
exactly. You know, as soon as we start charging, because this isn't a carnival, right? We don't want it to feel like a carnival. We want it to be a welcoming home environment where people come, they can eat dinner, go around. Kids can show different math skills, show off what they've been doing in science. And as soon as you start charging, it's a very different kind of event.
Yeah.
and that's
So,
fine,
that's
but we
kind
can't
of-
afford it. I guess that's my
Right.
point, is that we have to figure out how to
Right,
shift the
yeah.
budget so that we can afford to help sponsor things. And whether you want to pay for food or you want to pay for other things, I think it's an easy one for us to say food's one that's easy for us to not pay for.
And you said that the school might be able to.
But the school said that they might be able to pay for it, so.
So our question is, you want a motion to amend the budget, but not touching the reading and math food until 2 more weeks?
Until we find out what the numbers are, right?
Because isn't it November 18th?
Yes.
16 days.
Well, you'll know after math night whether or not you can adjust it for reading night.
So it's only
So basically, you need a motion to amend the proposed budget changes minus the math and reading night discussion. Anybody?
I move what she just said.
Thank you, Ms. Favorite. I was just trying to,
We need somebody to second.
will you someone second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you.
I have a question though.
Yep.
You're gonna eliminate general grants?
Because she always
Happened
laughs.
last year.
Okay. So if something comes up,
It's over
then you're
$500.
like, then you're like, sorry, we don't have any budget for general grants. We can't do that this year because we're doing playground equipment.
That would be the general grant, is playground equipment.
Oh,
So what's the difference between the general grant and the educational grants?
One is over $500, one's less than $500.
And the general grant sometimes would be the general school population.
Yeah.
And education
general
would be more
grant is
toward.
typically capital.
Right.
Capital. So like when we bought the laminating machine, that's a general grant, educational grant, so like things that you would use for curriculum in a classroom.
Classroom book
I know,
sets,
last year I bought all the Paddington books.
that's educational
That was
grant.
Educational grant,
It's less than $500.
Okay.
So art rec is a general grant.
So the whole public, or the soil, before we had a line item in the budget, the soil and the different things for the garden was a general grant.
So is the $500 cut in the educational grants, is that reasonable? I mean, is that what I hear that?
Yes, so last year we only spent $2,000 in education grants. We're at $500, $493 right now.
Okay.
And we're in November already, so. I'm not sure if anyone has any.
Yeah, and they don't usually start to ramp up again until like April.
Right.
When people go, oh, I can do this for the end of school, March, April.
Well, and we did get an added bonus because we got $100 from kids. And that helped us out as teachers a little bit. We're still trying to figure out how to spend those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't work.
Oh, no. So, okay. So we had a motion, we needed a second.
Yeah, we had a second, we had a discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, so any other questions about it? So then, everybody in favor, who's a member? Okay, anybody against? Okay, so the motion passes.
Everything but the food. Yay.
So then will you post an updated budget?
I will, I'll go.
She has to with the bylaws.
Yeah, well,
We're making her.
It's already, yeah.
She has to.
Make sure you don't change the food on
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Okay, cool. All right, Jane, all you.
Okay, in our remaining time. Okay, so presence report, I don't know if I have anything. We've covered a lot under treasurer. Let me go to the membership report. Julia couldn't be here. She has a sick kid. So let me bring up what she said. We added 2 new members in October, which brings us to 88 members total. And then she got another membership application. So, but right now we're at 88. Okay. Principals report. Jennifer had a meeting suddenly come up. Michelle, did you have anything from Jennifer?
Other than a 60-second summary, but first of all, just thank you for all the hard work that the PTA has done in the past. You survived October. You guys had all sorts of things going, and obviously we all benefited, so thank you very much for that. And we have the math night, which I guess you're familiar with after the conversation, but that's from 5:30 to 7 on the 18th. And then I'm just going to throw in that we do have the school science fair on January 14th in the evening then. And I haven't set up a time, but it looks like maybe 5:30 to 7 is a good time frame. With kids and all their activities, it's hard. And I hope this year to do one little thing different and get some volunteer parents that'll be judges, not judges, they won't actually judge anything, there won't be prizes, but that they can interview the 6th graders, because so far I have 32 6th graders that are going to participate. So I'd like to add that to the science fair night, so they're more prepared when they go to the county and it's not the first time that they've been interviewed by somebody. And it's not required in 5th grade this year, so I anticipate that we changed it. So it should be a large gathering. I was going to say, gosh, it'll be a smaller gathering. It'll be all.
We changed it.
I guess.
But the kids aren't required to attend.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I basically just would like the 6th graders interviewed. So. Well, there we go. So, and we do serve a little bit of food, but I just buy like platters of cookies, nothing big. So
It's like $170 last year, so.
yeah.
Are you gonna have prizes, or are you gonna?
What I was looking at maybe science buttons, like I love science,
Okay.
or they get pencils or ribbons, and I have a box full of those. So if I do buttons, I actually have this button maker from Ottawa Station.
Yeah.
It looks like it's been around for 80 years. It's made out of that solid metal. And it's taking up a whole corner of my room. And so when PTA gets its shed, maybe.
It's not in the budget yet.
There's space up there.
Yeah, but if PTA ever wants to make buttons, there's a button maker. So
That may be fun at the Halloween carnival. Make your button.
There's a surprise. Do you need volunteers for math night too, or no? Like at one time like that?
who's
No?
it?
Okay.
No, we're good. Okay, you're on that committee? Okay. Yeah, so it'll be fun. Lots of good things for the community, It'll be really nice. It's a great school, you know.
Like I said, $18,000 is not something to sneeze
No,
at.
it's not. We're very lucky. Thank you so much for all of that this past month.
And I understand the construction is almost done. They're just finishing the staff lounge.
Yeah, and they have to do some caulking, it looks like.
Okay.
But the windows we have are beautiful. I'm envious.
Down.
Okay, let's see, we kind of covered the fun run. Do you have anything else on fun run, Kristen?
I think we just have to make a decision next year whether or not we want to continue doing school-wide incentives versus individual incentives, because the number for fun run keeps on going down. The trend line for donations is certainly not good. And we had tons of feedback on how awesome they really enjoyed like the recess. They loved Mr. Favorite. They thought that was fabulous.
Fabulous.
Just awesome. I don't think we had one person not happy with the popsicles, so I would say that was a success overall.
It's 1%.
Yeah, one, yeah, not even at one.
Not even at 1%.
So, how many years has the fun run been going? Karen, how long has fun run been
7?
going?
No.
My
so
son
it's,
started-
2009
Okay.
was the first one.
My son was in kindergarten and he's done it every year and now he's in 6th
2009,
grade.
the year I moved back.
And we did the buses and went to
And we went
Sullivan
to high
Field.
school and did
Yeah.
Sullivan Field.
Yeah. He did it in kindergarten with Miss Whitaker because he got to ride the bus the first time in October and it was
So,
like
yeah.
the coolest
So
thing.
Rayton, what's he now?
She's 6th grade, so it's
So that's
7th year.
2009 when
Yeah, and that was the year that it was like $40,000. But it was the first year, the first one in town.
Right.
Now all 5 schools are doing it almost turkey trot or tiger
Right.
trot or
Well,
Bronca Bobcat Dash.
the thing is that you just have to decide whether or not that if you think that the trend line is going to continue going down by $1,000 every year, then you have to readjust your budget, or you have to do a new fundraiser, or
It's
So-
still making a lot of money for little amount of input going
Right.
into
Sure,
it.
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're making 10,000 regardless.
but our requirements
Yeah.
are yeah. But if you're budgeting for a $20,000 fund run,
Oh, right.
we're totally missing the mark.
But yeah, but I mean, it's a pretty easy fundraiser than selling donuts or cookie
Oh,
dough.
did you
Or,
hear what my threat was? I was like, I think I'm gonna sell cookie dough and wrapping paper.
but we do need a free.
Can we go back to the wrapping paper? Because there's no place to get wrapping paper in town anymore. They have 3 different rolls of wrapping paper at Smith's. I'm sick of those same 3. I want wrapping paper. Just saying.
Okay, so
You can make your own, Mr.
Sell me wrapping
Karen. You
paper.
can make your own.
I will make my own.
I
We
will
would,
do it.
well, we go to a recycling party and I'll make my own. That's what I'll do.
So if the fund run keeps going down, then where's the other $10,000 going?
yeah,
That's what we need. We need something else, a balance.
I'll run a fundraiser. I have no problem. I am focused on money because that is my job.
It,
I am a heartless, soulless person.
well, the first year, she's right, the first year we did the fun run, we were the one doing that in town. And there was a big, it was really complicated.
Right.
But it was trackable and there was a lot of incentives for each kid to send out so many
Yeah, sure.
messages or so many.
Yeah, they got shirts.
And they got, well, right, shirts, books, stuffed animals. There was like all these prizes for the top,
Yep.
People who sent out letters. And it wasn't even based on how much you brought back, but how many letters you sent out.
Right.
And but it had to be trackable.
Right.
It was a lot of work for that amount of money that we got.
Right.
And luckily we had somebody who was willing to actually do all the tracking. And we did it that way for 2 or 3 years. And that's just way too much work.
Yeah.
And so we got a little bit less, we get less money
Right.
for it. I think also, just because I interact with a lot of kindergarten parents now, it was new to a lot of kindergarten parents. I don't know that they felt like they had the real explanation of what we were doing.
Okay.
So it may be something that we need to get better parent education
Okay.
for, younger kids.
Or new to the district.
Just people who are new to the district, to the school, just as what it's doing. I know, like my sister's kids still do the same thing, but And I don't know. But they're like, for them, it's somehow they track how many emails each kid sends.
Right.
So just send 10 emails and you get a prize for sending a certain number of emails. Again, whether or not you want to do the work tracking, all that
Right.
stuff.
Well, there's a lot of companies that will help us do that. It's just you have to pay the fee.
Well, exactly.
And the part of the reason that we saved money this year is because we just went straight to PayPal.
Yeah.
And, we saved a boatload of money on fees compared to last year, so.
Yeah.
I am not gonna be here to run this next year, so we're heading back to Virginia. So whoever is doing this next, I will be here to consult, but I'm not gonna be the one to do it. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So that's Fun Run, the carnival. So as we heard, it did a lot better this year, and we tried some new things. Overall, I think they worked. Part of the reason why we made more money was because we had those $10 game cards. So you couldn't just spend a few dollars buying some tickets. You had to spend the $10. And so that's why we made more money. Because, I looked at the cards that were turned in at the prize store, and, a fair amount of them, they didn't fill their cards. They didn't play 12 games. They played 6 games or whatever. So, but they still paid $10.
It was a dream. It was a dream.
But I'll tell you just, so, I get all my news from Facebook, right?
Right.
So there was all kinds of, blah, blah, blah about the Halloween carnival. And so some people felt like they, like, it's a fundraiser, right? They weren't real happy with the quality of prizes, given that they had to spend $10 for that card. And also people said like, oh, there's no way with the lines that a kid can actually use their whole card. And then the other thing was, I think where you got the money boost was you forced them to spend more money with the punch card for the games and the punch card for the haunted house. So, because since it wasn't good for everything, some people bought both and they maybe wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So I know it's a fundraiser, it's great, but I think we also want to be aware of, some of the people coming don't have a lot of money to spend. And also you don't want people to feel like they get ripped off.
Oh, yeah.
So there was just,
Yeah, I know
I dealt with that, a little confusion about what is this for, what is that for? Yeah, there was one guy who was pretty.
They got confused with the 2 cards. I think that, yes, we're definitely gonna make more money having the 2 cards, but they get confused. Even if you tell them, they still get confused. Why do we need 2 cards? I think it'd be a lot simpler to have 1 card that does everything and not have to buy the 2. And that's where the real, I think, upset, I would call it.
Yeah.
Came.
So I think if you could go to just a 1 card system where
Yeah.
this is good
I
for
think the card is a
everything.
good thing.
The card was much better than the
Yeah.
tickets, yeah.
In Texas, we just had those wristbands, like they put on at the swimming pool.
Yeah.
That are sticky, and you just paid for that, and you could play as many games as you wanted all night long, but it was like $10, $15 for that thing. Because really, the lines, seriously, you can only really get through 10.
Yeah, I know. My kids only had 6
So you
punch
just
cards
had
to
the
get a
little
prize.
wristband thing that they put on, and that way people didn't have to punch it. It's just on, and if you have a wristband, you can play the game.
It's sort of like what Disneyland did.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to have the e-ticket ride.
Yeah. And then
Now-
once you paid for that,
Yeah,
Go for it.
That's a good thought.
and then they had like a basketball, like you could go and how many baskets you could shoot. And then, I don't know, it was a timer or whatever, and then they had a really good prize for that. So they had some with really good prizes.
Well, I know the families really like being able to share the card.
Yeah.
I know that was one thing. The families really like being able to share the card and split up the prizes between multiple kids.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you could make it like $5 for a wristband,
Yeah.
and then everybody got one.
Yeah, they really like that.
And having the kids write their name on the card in case they lost it, that was a great idea, except that, people would come and say, I found this on the floor. Well, if the kid never came looking for it, So if there was maybe a lost and found box for, I don't know how to do that, but
We put our phone number on it.
that's a good idea, actually.
That was good, yeah.
So I just wanted to mention the reason why we did the 2 cards was because normally in the past, the the cakewalk and the haunted house make more money than the games. And those are two things where we don't spend money buying prizes.
Right.
So when you just have one card, right, and if they're able to do everything, then suddenly we're spending money on prizes that are, you know,
Right.
how that works. So that's why we did the two different cards.
Yeah.
And so, like, one idea I had was to not just have the $10 card, but maybe have a $5 game card, you know. But I mean, that's something to talk about as a carnival committee for next year is, well, do we want to do some kind of wristband, you know, and how to, right?
You could do different colors for, you know, like if they had a haunted house purchase and they could have a different color than.
You mean a double pack, like games and haunted house, or just games?
Yeah, it would be, different color wristband. You could buy different colors that cost different amounts.
You can buy $15. You get all these games and 2 rides in the haunted house.
Well, see,
I'm just
you
like
have
a
to keep it
combination of like
simple.
endless.
Because the volunteers get confused, right? So like it already got confused this year with the stickers and the cards. You know, so you have to keep it really simple.
And I forgot to mention that we had stickers several years ago, and poor Eileen spent a lot of time scraping stickers off the floor, and that happened again. Like this year at the end, I was scraping stickers off the floor. Stickers aren't a good idea. Let's not do that again. they come off, but they stick really well to the floor.
So I'm curious, how many cards did we sell? Like, do you remember?
I wrote, it's in my email. Okay, so we sold 417 orange punch cards. So that was for Cakewalk and Haunted House. And so then that's how I estimated what we sold in game cards. And that would have been, that's around 370.
Okay, so the number of
380.
you got for that number of cards sold, would you say that was, like, I only heard like one person, I think it was the same person you heard. So,
Were you there too?
yeah. So I'm like, it was like, so out of 400 people,
But
like
you
what
had said
percent
comments
was
on Facebook.
really truly unhappy?
I think just
One person or like 5,
Yeah.
10?
Not a ton, but
an issue. And said, we just didn't tell them which.
It's called the 1% rule.
So
You
the
have
number of
1%
complaints, I think it might have been the same person.
of your population
So
complaining.
that,
You gotta
that
change
to
it.
me said, yeah.
But if it's
That-
less than that,
was satisfaction.
well, okay.
Never happy anyway. Mind you, I know the man. Doesn't matter
Take
what
the
we do.
complaint in consideration,
So,
see if you can
The
improve
point
it.
was that you have to kind of like the popsicles. You had one person out of that many people, so you kind of have to look at it as it worked pretty well. Might not have been perfect, but it worked.
We had
pretty darn
one
good.
complaint about the fire.
Yeah.
Mr. Favorite
Yeah,
fire.
we
We
did
didn't,
complain
we
about
didn't
fire.
have any other complaints that we ever won.
No. It wouldn't be shocking. Yeah, right. But the point is that you kind of have to look at and see that it didn't work for one person, but it did work for 400 people. So it was a pretty good model. It worked pretty well. We made a boatload of money on it.
Yeah, well, and the thing with the prizes is, see, I had made a certain number of cards so that originally, so that there would be the good prizes I bought, there were enough prizes for those game cards. And then we had people show up.
We sold out of them in 20 minutes.
So we made more game cards and we didn't have as many of the high quality prizes, right? So we had to, at the end, be giving the carryover trinkets from previous years. So like next year we would know, hey, people like this, we can spend more money on prizes. That's why I was afraid of going over budget with that $1,000 buying those prizes. So knowing that people would spend the money, we can buy more of the quality prizes.
Can we make more games, or are we limited by space in the?
So, yeah, I mean, one thing that happened, so last year we had 3 more games than we had this year. And a couple of things that happened was there was a couple of games we didn't set up because we got complaints about them last year, which had to do with the launcher, the big slingshot launcher, and the finger rockets. So we didn't do those games. And then there was a couple of things we were going to spread out outside, but at the time that we were setting up, it was raining. So that's why we shoved everything inside, and it made the lines kind of longer and more crowded. But it was raining, and some stuff I was going to put outside, we didn't put outside. So that was part of it. We can do more games. Part of the problem of doing more games is we need a lot more volunteers, and parents don't volunteer. We covered just about everything with high school kids. There were 56 high school kids here.
Wow.
They helped me set up. They stayed till 9 o'clock and helped us clean up. They pulled down stuff from the haunted house and helped, get all of everything. I mean, there were kids vacuuming. Of course, they liked it because it's like that vacuum that looks like Ghostbusters. That's cool. But there were high school kids here vacuuming till 9 o'clock. So, and I had at least 2 high school kids in almost every booth, and I had high school kids running, and we had, without Honor Society, without Key Club, thank you, Honor Society, Key Club, and ROTC. And the ROTC kids, I didn't invite the ROTC kids. They showed up on their own.
Well, I invited somebody.
Yeah, well, and I talked to the Thompsons, but the Thompsons come every year anyway. They just invited the rest of ROTC. And they were here in uniform. They were here late, but 56 of them. And there were some random middle schoolers that showed up.
Yeah,
because
the middle
they just
schoolers are
graduated
excited.
from Mountain, so they're all excited they can help them. So unless we get more parent volunteers, it's harder, but we can still do it. I mean, there are times when you have one person run a game for all 3 hours by themselves with no bathroom break until we send somebody out to relieve them for a little bit. So that's the thing. But yeah, we could do more games, and if it's not raining, then we can do more of them outside, and that helps a lot. And somebody asked me why we weren't using the 3rd grade wing, and that was just a matter of, in the past, because it's hard to supervise that wing, people damage the stuff that the 3rd grade teachers have hanging in the walls, or they, mess around. It's hard to keep track of all the people going down there. We couldn't use the music room because when we start using the gym, we kick out the Y kids and we need some place for them to go, and they go to the music room. So
I think overall it went really well. I think we made it.
Yeah, and the crowd was huge. There was a huge surge, and it was bigger than I think we've had. I was surprised last year how big the crowd was, but this year was bigger.
Well, it's being that first weekend. I'm telling you, it's being that first weekend.
We had a comment from an email moving it to Saturday versus Friday.
Oh, that was me.
That was you. I read emails. I don't know if it's coming from the president or from a person.
We always used to do it on Saturday. I mean, always. Since I've been involved in the past when my kids were in kindergarten, it's been on Saturday. For a long time. We moved it to Friday a couple of years ago. It was a suggestion to do it on the same day as Fun Run, just get everything over all in one day. You could move it back to Saturday. I think your attendance is better on Friday. I think just generally speaking, people just leave town on Saturday. That's just true about everything. Attendance isn't as good on Saturdays.
On the other hand, Mountain School has effectively extended the Halloween season for 3 weeks.
Okay, so somebody asked why doing it that 16th. We could have done it the week after, but there was home football. You don't want to do something the same weekend as home football because then I lose all the high school volunteers.
The band, the RTC, yeah.
Right? So
it's too much of a conflict.
It's too much of a conflict to do with home football. So we could have done it because we could have done it the 23rd because there was no Trick or Treat Main Street that weekend. But that was last year. We did it the week before Trick or Treat Main Street, and so it's just a matter of other stuff on the schedule.
My kids are excited because they get to wear the costume all week.
Yeah.
Or they get to wear 3 different costumes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to wrap up here. So we talked about math night. Were there any grant requests? Okay, and just to let people know, the PTA, New Mexico PTA is putting on this park workshop, and so we have Kristen and Ellen going, and so the idea, what's that? Oh, I'm sorry, Erin. to have a parent education session after their training on the park results, what that means. We didn't have Marilyn come today. She's out of town to do her presentation. Should we skip that?
What EPI?
Yeah, yeah,
Does it have to
okay.
be a long discussion?
Well, I wanted feedback from Jennifer about the school supplies. I mean,
I would just table it.
yeah,
Table
okay,
it,
so
Ethan,
we'll
'cause you wanna
table
make
the
sure
school
the
supply
cost.
issue. And then the next meeting is Monday, December 7th, and no meeting in January. Okay, all right, the meeting is adjourned, thanks.
Honey, I wanted to